Hey, so we are back thinking about the way we decide what we want to do in life, the way we pick the directions we eventually take, and the way we choose careers. Now, the normal tendency is to go with the name of the program, so or the reputation of the program, or the 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 big the picture it portrays, the picture it exudes. So, and of course the big buzz and the big hoo-ha and everything else that's associated with it. So let's take an example. Engineering, and that's consistently and timelessly, it's a timeless favorite with students who've just given their exams and just about to start college. Now the point, the funda is not to think in terms of a program name. I mean, an engineering is just a name. Instead, what you could do is think in terms of the tasks and the skills that your dream role involves. So the point number one is figure out what your dream role is, what you want to do. Not in terms of we usually mix up what you want to do with what you want your resume to look like. No, what is the task that whatever you are, whatever you become, you'll be doing that for a considerable period of your life. So what is that task that you enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis? So number one is figuring out the task that the job not in the traditional sense, but the exact errand that you need to run, the activity that you need to do in your hypothetical job role 4 or 5 years down the road. Figure out that task, that activity that you enjoy doing. Step number two, figure out the skills and the capabilities and the knowledge and the wisdom and etc. and all of that you need for that. Put two and two together, and now retrospectively work backwards to figure out the kind of course, the kind of program that really would make sense for a journey like that. So coming back to the example, if it's engineering, why engineering? The reason it's an important question, because a lot of people these days, they're getting into engineering, but they're getting out. They're checking into a college as somebody who wants to do engineering, but they're checking out as somebody who wants to do a software program, wants to have a software career, whereas the program that they enrolled for is probably chemical engineering. Now, which makes sense, because engineers are getting lifted. As long as you have an engineering degree, you get an easier entry into even a coding job, because they teach you on they give you on the job training for 6 months, so it's not a problem, and you can make the transition. But wouldn't it be far better if you were to be practicing the tasks and the activities that you would be doing for the rest of your life, or maybe for the first 10 years of your career, right from college? So coming back to the example, if you want to become a coder, figure out the abilities, the mind tricks that you need to do, that you need to possess in order to become a coder. What does a coder do? At the end of the day, programming there's a lot of logic involved. There's a lot of reasoning skills involved. There is a lot of analytical thinking. There is a fair bit of creative thinking, design thinking. Hey, so we are back from where we left off, we were discussing why we need to focus on tasks and skills and activities, just like you would do in your workbook, in school, in junior school, in order to arrive at a career decision that really makes sense from every point of view. Now, we took the example of coding, and we kind of projected the premise that it's far better to, and that's my personal opinion, is that it's far better to take up a course in humanities in college as opposed to a petroleum engineering or an aeronautical BTech program, if programming and if coding is all you want to do for the rest of your life, or at least for the next 10-15 years. Why is that? To figure that out, let's understand what humanities is first. And you've got plenty of resources on Google and plenty of experts telling you what that is. But in my personal and very short opinion, very quickly, humanities is really a collection of streams of thought, streams of schools of thought, captured in the form of subjects like very familiar ones, like history, like anthropology, which is the study of the origin of the human race, like philosophy, like political science, like psychology, and all of that. But far more importantly, it's not so much as what humanities is, but what it trains and what it teaches you to do, and what its core activities are, what the core tasks are of a student, of a practitioner, of a pupil, of a learner of the humanities. Now, humanities comprises two parts, really. The first is where you make sense of all these seemingly disconnected disciplines of anthropology and psychology and, political science, where you kind of distill all the essence of all the high philosophies and the hypotheses that have been laid down by those great thinkers in the past. You make sense of all of that, and that's the first part. The second part is that you put it all together and you create a new thought, a new morsel of thought for yourself. That's the second piece is yours. That's got you written all over it. You could copyright that. It's not very different from creating a PhD thesis. It's your special interpretation of what has gone by, and it's the way you prefer to send it through your personal grinder and mixer. So now, quickly, when let's look at what a coder or a programmer would do in a course of a day's work. Just like a humanities student would have to create an essay, let's say, a disposition, a decodification, an essay. Let's go with the word essay. In the way that the humanities, people of humanities, a student of humanities would need to create a cogent and a coherent essay, which means that an essay which carries meaning. It cannot be a senseless walk in the park. It cannot be a wild goose chase. It has to be headed somewhere. You need to have a target. You need to be aiming to prove, or you need to be aiming to establish something beforehand, even before you've proceeded, you've taken the first step or written the first sentence. So you need to have, that's cogency, you need to be cogent, and you need to be coherent. Coherence is clarity, is the way you structure and you sequence and you the arguments. It's the cadence, it's the waterfall, it's the flow of your thoughts. Now, all of that has to really fit very, very closely and very, very beautifully together in order to create a large, you take the small blocks of knowledge and you create that large edifice of your masterpiece. And all those pieces need to fit. They need to talk to each other seamlessly. And which means that they all need to map back. They all need to connect back to a larger thought, and they all need to rest on the foundation of a broader stream of a broader concept. So the point is that it's all similarly when you're coding, you need to, that piece of code that you create is your masterpiece, and it's made up of those little logic gates with Boolean logic and all of that stuff. I'm not aware of all of that. I'm not a coder, but you have those wonderful pieces of logic, and they all need to beautifully, they all need to seamlessly gel, and they need to create that Lego, that your personal Lego toy. It's not a toy, but that takes up the form of a powerful piece of code that can make huge machines work and very sophisticated operations simple. Now the way you put those arguments together, the way you structure your logic and you build that masterpiece, that you build that solution, and in doing so, the skills that you need to summon, skills like critical thinking, skills like reasoning skills, judgment skills, a fair bit of creative lateral thinking, out of the box thinking, and all of that, everything, it all goes into the, you need all of those stuff in order to really arrive at that solution. And remember it's more of discovery rather than invention. The two are linked, and we'll get into that perhaps in a later video, but the point is that it's all there. It's 0 and 1 in the sense that it's not your own personal version of the truth. The truth is out there. You just need to spot it, you need to identify it, you need to pluck it out of the tree, and you need to embed it in the system in the new system, the new ecosystem of thought that you're creating. And in that sense, and in that process, that sequence of tasks that you need to do in order to achieve that is very similar to humanities, to the way you would write an essay in humanities, and on the other hand, the way you would write a piece of code as a software engineer. So if you're thinking skills, and if you're thinking abilities, and if you're thinking the small little tasks that you need to carry out in any, let's say, in a particular assignment, in a particular project, that gives you clarity, that makes you realize the kind of skills that you need to possess, the kind of abilities that you need to, the kind of faculties that you need to develop, that you need to train up yourself up over the next 4 years in order to arrive at a position of strength, when you will eventually actually be called out, but you'll be summoned to do those tasks in the office, in your workplace. So you would realize, so when you figure out those tasks, when you have those tasks clear in your vision, in your visor, and if you can successfully, which is an easier step, if you can successfully just link it to the skills that you need, then you put two and two together, and you arrive at various career options that are far removed from the kind of suggestions that we tend to receive from our ecosystem of guides and advisors, be it in college, be it in society, be it at home, right? So don't go for the name, don't go for the qualification that you will write in your resume, in your biodata. Don't go by how fancy or by how trending or by how valuable they say that they are. It is because everybody will have a different perspective. They're coming from a different place, and they'll have a different reason for considering that qualification valuable. You will have your own, and yours must be based on, you break that down, you decompose that, you kind of distill that into its constituent elements, the skills and the tasks, and then you put it all back together to create your. You find that it's like a Lego game. When you put it all back together, you don't really have to conform to the notions and to what we've been conditioned to think, and you can put it all back together in your own image, in the image of your own dream, of your own aspirations, which means that you have essentially customized. You've taken something out of the system and you've customized it inside out, completely to resonate with who you are, with where you want to go, and with whom you want to be. There's perhaps no better way to make a career decision, but that's just me, right? And I go on record as I'm going on record with that. So that's it for now. There you go. And that's happy career DIYing.